Hari Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Jyotirmaya Yoga. We focus on spirituality, a journey to self realization. Please subscribe for the daily meaning of the scriptures and to enjoy daily satsang with us. We are currently studying the book The Art of Positive Feeling by Swami Jyotirmayananda Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. We are having satsang on the topic of kama or desires, and we will start with a parable, the trammels of 99. Another parable is told to demonstrate how desire is the great enemy of peace. There was once a blacksmith who labored hard but enjoyed his work immensely and always sang joyfully as he worked. When his rich neighbor heard that singing, he became extremely jealous. How can it be, he thought to himself, that with all my wealth, I can't even sleep due to worries and anxiety, and yet my poor neighbor is always so happy. Though he works so hard, hammering iron sheets close to a hot fire, still he enjoys his life and his work. Unable to bear this situation a moment longer, the jealous neighbor thought and then came up with a simple plan. Putting his scheme into effect, the neighbor secretly threw a bag containing $99 into the shop of the blacksmith. When the blacksmith entered his shop, he found the bag and wondered how it had got there. Unable to solve the mystery, he decided to keep the money and make good use of it. Then the idea came to his mind, it is only $1 less than 100. It would have been nice if it was 100. So the next day he worked hard and instead of just earning $1, he brought the total up to 124. Then he thought to himself, if the amount I had was $1 more, it would be an even mathematical amount, 125. So the next day he worked hard again, and the pattern continued, always needing a little more to make a nice round figure. As the days passed, the blacksmith lost the peace and joy with which he used to work, and there were no more songs. Of course, the neighbor was delighted because his plan had worked out just as he had hoped for. One day, the blacksmith suddenly realized that he was becoming sick, weak, and restless. Then he thought to himself, all the trouble started from that 99. With a great sense of relief, he gathered that money and threw it over to the rich man's place, thanking him that he could surely make good use of it. In the Hindi language, there is a proverb that was inspired by this story. It is called Ninyanve Ka Fair, the catch of 99, and don't get stuck in it. The moment you got caught by the illusion of needing more of something to be happy, you become entangled. Like the blacksmith in a joyless pursuit. Desires for things which are perishable are full of vanity. Desire self realization alone. Desire the development of spiritual values and virtues. Those are healthy desires, aspirations. Desire the betterment of humanity. Desire to become desireless. Don't be trapped by your desires. In some parts of India, the monkeys are trapped by a clever device. A jar with a narrow neck is filled with fruit and placed in a spot where monkeys frequent. Attracted by the fruit, a monkey puts his hand into the jar and then grabs the fruit. Then, having made his hand into a fist, he cannot take his hand out since the neck of the jar is too narrow. He can easily let the fruit go and release his hand, but he lacks this sense due to his desire to possess the fruit, and he is caught. Even so, human consciousness puts his hand into the narrow jar of egoism in order to catch the fruits of worldly enjoyments with the fingers of desire. Open your hand and let the fruit go. You will be released from the narrow prison of embodiment. You will realize, I am all that exists. I am the eternal, infinite truth. Renounce worldly desires by serving humanity, by developing devotion, and by practicing profound inquiry. Let your mind be a channel of divine will. Perform action with a sense of dedication to God. When your heart is purified, it will become filled with sublime desires. Desires that are expressions of divine will for the good of humanity. These desires do not bind or entrap the soul. Rather, they are like heavenly flowers blowing freely in the breeze, spreading their sublime fragrance everywhere. Passionate desires. Every religion speaks of the importance of overcoming lustful passion. However, the yogic scriptures have given a profound insight into this process by detailing the mystic practice of brahmacharya. What is brahmacharya? Brahmacharya literally means living and moving in Brahman, the Absolute, the Divine Self, and in its highest form. Brahmacharya implies being established in the awareness, I am Brahman. However, from a relative point of view, Brahmacharya consists of restraining and sublimating the sex urge. Brahmacharya is in a most restricted sense, implies control and sublimation of the sex energy through the practice of celibacy and restraint of sexual pleasures. Generally, therefore, people think of a brahmachari as a young person or a monk who is celibate and unmarried. In ancient India, the sages divided a human life into four 25-year stages or ashramas. So somebody typically lived for 100 years. That was the basis. According to this system, people were to spend the first 25 years in brahmacharya ashram, meaning student life. The second in grihastha ashram, meaning householder or married life. The third in vanaprastha ashram, a retired stage devoted to practice of austerity and teaching others in forest, schools, etc. And the fourth in sannyasa ashram or renunciation. This ancient system provided that students who were below the age of 25 should devote their time and energy to intensive study under the guidance of a guru or a teacher. To enhance the power of this educational experience, they were enjoined not to enter into any sex relationships and urged to remain celibate until the householder phase of life began after age 25. That ideal of discipline was intended to prevent young people from being caught up in the frivolities and ideal just wasting time in their sex energy as a result of their vital, physical, and nervous urges, and to free their energy for handling the responsibilities of that portion of their life. So, very profoundly thought by the sages, and there was a deep reasoning behind this self control guidance. Although the practice of sexual restraint by students and the vow of celibacy adopted by monks and renunciates are a very important aspect of brahmacharya, they signify only a restricted understanding of this very great ideal. As already discussed, brahmacharya means being established in Brahman, to think, walk, talk, act, speak about God. But that stage comes in a gradual manner. Whether a person is married or unmarried, the biological demands of life, the instinctive urge for procreation and for passion, continues to assert itself. It influences all people, young and old, in all stages of life, and a complete mastery over it requires the same kind of profound understanding necessary for conquering the subtle roots of violence in human personality. Therefore, brahmacharya, in a broader sense, is to be understood and practiced by people at all stages of life, whether married or unmarried. We will continue this journey in tomorrow's satsang. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Hari Om Tat Sat.